Good morning and hello to all of you. I would suggest that during the session, obviously, we have a limited time. So it would be great if you share your opinions, your questions, your comments through the chat box so that everybody can read it. And at the end of the session, hopefully, we will be able to take some questions, opinions, and comments from your side. So today is a very interesting and a wonderful topic, and hopefully, I will be able to talk about the reasons why we face burnout and what can we do about it. So whenever I talk about self-management or self-development areas, I try to focus on practical activities that all individuals can follow in their own personal space, whether you are a student or a professional or living in any context of your life. You can practice these things on your own. So let us start by allowing you to use your chat box and tell me that whenever you read this word stress, what comes to your mind? Think about all the possible stresses that you have in your life, and what is the first thing that pops up in your mind? Write it down in the chat box so I'm able to know that what our audience is facing nowadays in terms of stress. I'll tell you later that what the stress has got to do with anxiety and what anxiety has got to do with burnout and why are we talking about it today. So use the chat box and write down one word that comes to your mind when you hear the word stress, or what stresses you out the most. What do you feel stressed about the most? uh, okay, I hope that you have access to the chat box. If not, you can send me a direct message. I'll quickly read through it. I'm just going to type a message in the chat box. So I hope that all of you are able to see it. I just need some quick responses. Usually the students of Atlantic International University are very responsive. They use the chat box very rigorously, give their opinions. So I hope that you are able to use the chat box right now. If not, please let me know so that I can uh, plan accordingly. What comes to your mind when you hear the word stress? Stress has different meanings to all of us. I mean, it can be financial issues, it can be our health concerns. All right, wonderful. So there are messages coming directly to me. One of the participants says that anxiety is something that comes to their mind. Fine. What stresses you out the most? Is it your studies, your career, your health, your relationships, your jobs, your future prospects, your situation of your country, maybe? I mean, whatever comes to your mind, whatever stresses you out, feel free to write it down in the chat box. The participants are able to send me a direct message, so I will be reading as I get the idea. So once we are able to set up this thing that there are multiple factors in our lives that causes us stress, that will be a good start for us to have an idea before in the session so that I can tailor my examples and give my opinions accordingly so that you find them helpful. Worry is another response that came to me. All right. Study is another response that came to me. Okay. So some people would be thinking about their professional aspects and all the other things. Tiredness, fatigue, physical exertion is one thing that is coming in the response. So we do understand that stress can be caused by multiple factors. Fine. So we'll talk about it later, but let us start with the story of a boiling frog. If you haven't heard this story before, this will be really interesting for you. Now, in the picture, we see a very colorful and very joyful frog sitting in a pot about to be boiled. You know what happens is, in terms of what is the story of a boiling frog? If you take a frog and you take a pan and you start boiling water in the pan, when you put the frog in the pan, at that moment, the frog will not find the water hot and it won't do anything. Now, gradually, the water starts turning hot, the water starts boiling. The frog would be thinking, okay, I'm able to take this heat, I'm able to absorb this heat. Maybe I should wait a bit longer before I jump out. Now, what happens is that the water keeps on boiling, and the frog keeps on thinking that I would be able to survive it. I would be able to go through it. But what happens is eventually the frog boils into that water. What does this story tell us about facing stress in our life? Can anyone share your opinion? Whatever comes to your mind. What has it got to do with stress? Think about it. You know what happens is when we are facing stress in our life, we generally tend to believe that we can handle it. I mean, there is another very interesting example. Take a glass of water or a bottle of water in your hand, like the one I have right now, and just raise it up in the air. You know, initially, for first 5 or 7 minutes, I won't be really bothered. It's not bothering me at all. But if I keep on doing it for next 10, 15, 20 minutes, my shoulder is going to be start to hurt. My probably my hand, my forearm is going to start feeling a bit fatigued. And eventually I will start feeling very tired. But this is what happens with our stressors. You know what? If we carry on a burden for a longer period of time, believing in our minds that we can handle it, eventually it gets to us, it leads to anxiety, and a continuous anxiety state leads to burnout. Now, burnout is a stage where you just crash down, where everything is like, is over. Those of you who drive cars, you will be able to understand the example very well. I mean, if you keep on driving the car in a very low gear, if you are driving a manual car which has manual gears and you are like just giving the accelerator in the first or second gear, what is going to happen after half an hour or 45 minutes of driving? The engine is going to break down. What does it tell us? It tells us that the engine has not been able to take the pressure that you are applying on it. There needs to be a change in the pressure applied. There needs to be a change in the overall scenario, in the overall environment. Now, this is what stress management is all about. Tell yourself that you are not a frog and you're not going to end up boiling in a pot of pressure environment that is around you. Your pot, my pot is filled up with economic concerns, with our career concerns, with our family concerns, our social issues, our financial issues, and all the possible issues that are stressing us out. So the important thing is we need to deal with this stress. We cannot just let it continue to happen because eventually it'll burn us out. So today I'm going to be talking about the different reasons and factors which contribute towards development of stress. And then I'll talk about how we can manage that stress. And those tips will be very helpful for you because we all need to save ourselves from burning out. There is going to be a context regarding the workplace, like in the working environment, there are different stressors and how you should deal with that. So I'm going to give you a combined kind of a response towards personal and professional life. Hopefully you will be able to find this session very helpful. Moving forward, let us define stress what it is. I mean, it can be defined as our mental, physical, emotional, and behavioral reaction to any perceived demand or threat. You know, whenever something unexpected is happening in our lives, we have two kind of responses, fight or flight response. This is something very common, very interesting. We can either fight, stay in the fight, or we can even flight. Now, our development, our overall environment, our education, our life, it teaches us to behave in certain manners. The, like every day, there are certain situations which cause some kind of an
Yes.
alarm or a threat to our sanctity, to our,
मैं कर लेता हूँ मैं बस रिव्यू करके आपको बताता हूँ
if you can just mute all of them. I need some help from Dr. Valkin. If you can mute the participants. So, all right, thank you. So, stress is the reaction of your body that requires a physical, mental, or emotional adjustment or response. So, one thing that you need to understand is that every situation that is causing any kind of an alarm or any kind of a problem or any kind of a perceived threat, we need to have a strategy to counter it. Otherwise, we will end up like that boiling frog. Okay? So do understand that you cannot just let the things go on. You cannot just ignore them. You cannot just fly away from all the situations. We should learn to deal with them. Now, dealing with life challenges is something very interesting. It's called resilience. It is one of the leading factors when it comes to managing stress. So people who want to avoid getting burned out psychologically or physically during their careers or in their lives, they need to understand that there is something missing. What is that thing missing? Their strategy towards dealing with life stressors. Do understand this thing that all of us are going to face challenges, and challenges are good. I mean, without challenges, there would be no life. So in life, challenges are going to come, but the important thing is how we respond to them, how we react to them. Let us now quickly compare the two ideas of stress and burnout. I mean, I've been using these two words, two ideas very interconnectedly. So I would want to describe that what is stress. As I've already told, that different situations or events, they trigger a certain stressful response in your mind, and that leads to your physical symptoms as well. Most of the times the stress is related with the feelings of being overwhelmed, having anxiety, feeling some kind of pressure. And it can come from anywhere. It can come from your personal life, your work, your health, your mindset, your social aspects. I mean, there are different factors. We are going to talk about them later. Uh, it immediately impacts your response to that stressful situation. It can cause certain kind of irritability in the mood. It will damage your emotional intelligence. It will like hamper your mood swings. And often it is accompanied by the physical symptoms as well. If you are continuously in the stage of stress, you would start feeling headaches. Your muscles, particularly these muscles around your shoulder, in your neck, they are going to be fatigued and stressed out for a lot of time because you are under a lot of stress. But the important thing is that stress can be managed through certain strategies, which we are going to talk about later. So what is burnout? If you are going to allow this stress to take over you, I mean, prolonged episodes, prolonged exposure of chronic stressors lead to burnout. Burnout is a stage where you just crash. You can crash mentally or you can just crash physically. You're over, you're done. I mean, you're not dead, but you're like gone. You're not able to do anything. It can be characterized as emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and reduction in personal accomplishment. You just start losing interest in life. You start losing motivation to do things in your life. It impacts everything, your work, relationship, your overall well-being. I mean, it damages everything. It's not possible that you are stressed out at work and you are perfectly all right at home. That stress, that anxiety you are going to bring to your personal life as well, and it is going to damage that also. It results in loss of motivation, decreased productivity, and you're not like getting sense of why you are doing certain things. You lose your sense of purpose, and it requires professional help. That can be medical help as well, that can be psychological help as well, but it is of much more of a serious nature. So I hope that you will be, by now, you should be able to understand the relationship of stress and burnout. There is an in-between stage which is called anxiety, but it's pretty obvious that we can understand the relationship. Firstly, is stress that is normal, that is common. If we don't deal with this, continuous prolonged stress leads to anxiety, and that anxiety, if not catered, if not dealt with, it leads to burnout. All right. Please do continue to share your opinions, your questions, your comments throughout the session. You know, summers are here in Ahmedabad right now, although I'm in a very my area is like very green and full with mountains, but these 2 months of summer are causing a lot of stress to me. Because we have load shedding over here, our electricity failures are pretty common. So our life is like pretty much mixed up right now. So daily we need to deal with this stress of how to go through this extreme weather with an uncertainty that is there in the environment. So I'll share my personal strategies as well, that what am I trying to do on a daily basis to calm myself down, to take charge of what is happening around me and to deal with my stress. All right. Okay. So you do need to understand that not all stress is bad. I mean, this must be something new for you to understand, that stress is not always bad. There is something called as eustress, which is like called a good stress. And then there is the distress, which we usually know as the bad stress. Can you think of any example of good stress? What comes to your mind? Let me share an example with you. Like if I have to appear in a job interview tomorrow, and that job is very critical and very important for my career. So the stress that I will be feeling today is good stress. I mean, I need that stress so that I can prepare, I can take it seriously, and I try to perform my really best. All right. If you're trying really hard to keep a relationship, that is good stress. I mean, these type of stressors are important in life. On the other hand, if that stress is going, the common perception of stress is that we don't want to do something, but we have to do it, and that is causing us a lot of stress. All right, something unexpected is happening in our environment, something that we don't like, something that we don't want to talk about. For example, my favorite team has lost the match, a very critical match, and I feel stressed out. I mean, although it's a very, I would say, like a very lighter side of kind of an example, but this does cause us stress as well. And then we can talk about the more serious matters. If my financial condition is not according to my expectation, then I will be in a continuous circle of stress. Okay. So not all stress is bad all the time. So we don't need to like eliminate stress from our lives and be unresponsive to everything that is happening around us. We need to deal with life stressors on a regular basis. Let me give you an example of a stress situation. You may probably find it relevant to you. Uh, Generally, people are like, people, they need to learn the ability or skill of public speaking. Public speaking is a very wonderful skill, and not everyone is an expert on that. What I've seen over the years is when I interact with my students, like if I'm teaching a class of 40 students at graduate level, around 25 or 30 of them are not very comfortable to come on the stage and share their ideas. That is basically stage fright, and that is something that is pretty common. So public speaking, if you can recall any example from your life, you will be able to relate that if you are given an opportunity to come in front of all the people and share your ideas, you will feel some kind of a stress. I mean, probably physically, your heart might race, your hands may feel a bit sweaty, your voice may not be as okay as it usually is. You may want to avoid eye contact. Your ideas, mentally, cognitively, maybe your ideas, they start to falter. They're not like being organized like they are usually. Or you even start to feel very anxious or fearful. I mean, this is something very common. Now, it does not mean that you run away from public speaking and public speaking is our enemy and it's a very bad thing. This is not the meaning. The meaning is that public speaking is a skill that we need to learn. And the more we are into it, more confidence we are going to gain. And that is how we are going to deal with the stress of stage fright. So I hope you got my point. Whatever is stressing you out, if you start practicing to deal with it, think about that fight or flight response. If you are ready to fight that, then your stress levels are going to lower down, and then you would be in a different zone. But if you just don't deal with it, it's going to lead you towards burning out. All right. Okay, there are some comments in the comment box. Let me have a. In South Africa, we have around load shedding 3 to 5 times a day. Yeah, same here. I mean, I hope and I wish that everybody gets free electricity everywhere so that we can run air conditioners and fans and lights all the time. I'm not sure what impact is it going to create on the environment, but it's going to make us very happy. So let us identify the symptoms of stress. What I need you to do in next 5 minutes is ask yourself that have you been feeling these symptoms? So that is going to give you an idea that how vulnerable you are to stress. I mean, we feel different things in our body, in our mind, but we don't take them seriously usually. So let us see that whether do they fall in the area of stress. Physically, if you feel frequently tired or if you are having any difficulty sleeping or spending a lot of time in the bed, if you frequently have nightmares, if you are having headaches, your back is hurting, uh, you're not able to relax when you want to. Even if when you want to relax, your mind is continuously running and you are feeling tired and feeling drained out. If you usually have dry mouth or throat, your heart pounds, you are losing appetite or you are overeating. Frequently, you are feeling some kind of a pressure on your chest and you are facing shortness of breath, maybe. So, this means that physically you are facing the symptoms of stress. This is just for an example. I've compiled this data from different web resources. Uh, these web resources, they state that physical changes are bound to happen when you are facing stress. So if you are going through few or more of these symptoms, this shows that stress is taking on you. Emotionally, have a look at the slide. If you feel depressed frequently, if your mood swings are quite frequent, I mean, in a single day, you are either very happy and suddenly you become very sad or very angry. These mood swings can be caused by certain triggers in the environment. So if you are continuously facing these mood swings, that can be a symptom of stress as well. If you generally become impatient, have a sense of low self-esteem and guilt and shame, these emotions, if they are there in your heart frequently, you don't find humor in humorous things. Like if you start seeing a humorous movie and you're like pretty skeptical about it and you don't like it and you just can't find the humor in it, you're feeling less confident than before, then this means that emotionally stress is taking over you. This content is very important. You know, whenever I go through this content, I ask myself these questions as well, that am I facing these symptoms? And you would be able to understand that in a workplace, in an environment where you're not very happy, or in a relationship, if you're not very happy, in any situation where you're not happy, you are bound to face these kind of symptoms. All right, physical and emotional. Now, then there are behavioral symptoms as well. I'll quickly go through them. If you are feeling stressed out, your physical symptoms, your behavioral symptoms, sorry, will have that you will be overly critical of everything. You would be finding the negativity in everything around you. All right. Uh, your relationships are going to suffer. You won't take care of your hygiene. You won't bother to take care of your hygiene. I mean, you won't be clean at all the times. Uh, your speaking, it may differ. Your impulse is going to take on you, like you will be taking undue risks. You will be desperate to try out new things, which is unlike you maybe in your regular life. You will be become more careless. All right. You lose your motivation. You would want to do multiple things at a time. or unfortunately, you can end up thinking about having thoughts of harming yourself, or unfortunately, a kind of unfortunate suicidal thoughts would be coming in your mind. If these things are happening, let me alarm you that the stress is taking over you, because this is not normal. All right. So moving on to the fourth symptom of stress, that is psychological or mental. Uh, I relate to these things a lot because being a teacher, I need to work on my thoughts and my speaking a lot. Like every day at my work, I need to talk to so many people that at times I feel really stressed out. There is a week, we celebrate a week at our university, which is called the Students' Week. I'm the overall in charge of that. Now, what happens in that week is that there are many societies, clubs, and sports activities that are going on within the campus. And I'm in regular contact with all the students who are coming to me for approvals and for discussions and everything. After the end of Students' Week, I feel so tired and so stressed out that I tell my students that I have done enough peopling for, for this time period. I have met enough people in this time period that I won't be able to talk to you for like next 1 week. It's because this impacts your mind and your thought processes. If you are overexerting your mind over things, you would find it difficult to concentrate. Your memory problems will be there. You would be facing difficulty to take decisions. Indecisiveness would be there. Very small things are going to hurt you and make you feel upset. Like if a friend cracks a joke at your mood, you eventually feel very upset about it. So this means that you are under a lot of stress. You're not normal. Because in normal days, you would just want to feel a bit bad on a joke for a small period of time and then you move on. But in a stressful situation, it's quite difficult to do that. Uh, One gets afraid. They think more about problems and less about solutions. Negativity prevails in the thought processes. So if you are facing such kind of any symptom, then this means that the stress is taking over you and you need to make it a priority that you need to deal with these stressors in your life. Okay. Then there are obviously the spiritual and philosophical kind of stressors as well. They're not quite dominant, but they do come at some point in our life. I mean, we do think about the purpose of life and what we are doing with our lives, rethink about our goals. We start having doubts about our lives and things like that. Okay. So once again, I need to ask you that after all this discussion of the stress symptoms, ask yourself, make a priority that what stresses you the most. I mean, in your daily life, and since you are sending me a direct message and I'm your instructor, you can have confidence by sharing with me. I would want you to write down a single word or something that stresses you out so that my later on examples are related to your situations. Read out all these things that are written on the slide and think about the factors that are stressing you out.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's again a moment for you to just jump in and get involved. Just one word about the type of situation that might get you crazy, stressing you out, getting you to be burned out. So go ahead on the chat box, write what it is in just one word or two, maybe. Uh, Tell us what is driving you super crazy, what is stressing you out. Thank you for your participation again. I can see finances on the chat channel, meaning that if you realize that you're not going to get that money to pay your mortgage, to pay your rent, to pay whatever, to get rid of a debt, then that also can make you getting ready to explode, which is burnout. Go ahead, brothers and
True.
sisters.
True. Thank you so much for your valuable addition, Doctor. Uh, there are direct messages coming to me. Unfortunately, I think the students are not able to use the common chat box for some reason. But anyhow, they are sending me direct messages, and some students have said that studies they are the leading reason for the stress. Financing. One of the students says that finances, balancing between consumption, bills, and saving. True, economic concerns are one of the leading reasons of stress. Rejection. Another student says that rejection and attitude of other to my personal progress is something that is bothering them and causing them a lot of stress. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. I'll quickly jump onto the part like what we can do about it. We have already talked about so many things that what is the reason and what are the causes of stress. But let us focus on what we can do about it. I'll quickly go through this content that what can lead to stress. I will be emphasizing less on it because we have already talked about it. Environmental factors can have political, economic, or lack of facilities. Then we have social factors like something happening with people around us, like the example we just heard from one of our students that someone's lack of appreciation is causing them stress. If you lose a loved one, if you are trying to network and not able to find the right people, that can also cause you stress. Physiologically, factors include your irregular diet, lack of exercise, your sleep disturbance, we've talked about it, your thoughts, like your mindset. That has got a lot to do with either creating or dealing with stress. But I want to talk about the strategies that what we can do in order to deal with that. But firstly, on the lighter side, these coming 4 5 slides are for those who are in their professional life working from Monday to Friday. You know what happens is, this is an example of a working week. On Monday, what happens? Like on a Sunday, we are very happy, chilled, relaxed, and like having a wonderful time, whooping around. And what happens on Monday when we are at work? When we go to work on Monday, we are in such a bad mood and don't want to talk to anyone. On Tuesday, our motivation is still declining. The work is taking out all the energy, and we are thinking that why are we here at work and when is this going to end? So, what happens on the next day? On Wednesday, we are thinking that life is going to end because this work is not ending, life is ending. Now, what happens on Thursday? That life slowly seeps back into the body. Why? Because we are anticipating about the upcoming weekend. So what happens on Friday? Friday is a very wonderful working day. Everybody's so happy because they're about to start their wonderful weekend. So, I mean, this is something pretty common all over the world, regardless of your culture, regardless of your race, regardless of your nationality. I mean, we all don't like to work. I mean, we do like to work, but usually it gets a bit boring. It gets a bit annoying. I mean, professional life, working, keeping motivated, staying motivated, 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday, it becomes a challenge. Now, people who have spent around like somebody like myself, I'm about to complete my 2 decades of my job. Like I've been in my job for 20 years. So I try to find so many things that keep me interested throughout the working week, that keep my motivation high. And my own personal choices, my own personal efforts make a lot of difference. So this is my point, that your own strategies, your own techniques, they are going to help you a lot. So how to deal with these stressors, and what to do in order to get rid of burnout. Let us quickly go through some strategies, and if you find some other strategy that you use, please feel free to share. In the coming slides, we are going to talk about how to eliminate stress, anxiety, and burnout. Nothing complicated. What I try to do is whenever it comes to strategies, whenever I talk about self-development, I try to break down things into simpler, easy to remember, and activities that we can do on a daily basis rather than if I tell you to go to some other country and spend a holiday and spend a lot of money, that may not be possible for you. So that is not a practical solution. But if I ask you to just go out of your house, take a walk, do some breathing exercise, just appreciate the weather, just appreciate the nature, just appreciate the fact that you have legs, you have the energy to go out and walk. There are people in this world who cannot go out and walk because they are physically not able to do that. So that kind of a mindset, that kind of strategies can help us deal with our stressors. All right. I think one of the most important strategies that we can follow is to have a support system around us, our company, our people who are around us. They should be supportive. I mean, I am a firm believer of this thing that you should ask your friends to be supportive. You should ask your spouse, your kids, even your co-workers to be supportive of what you do. And on the other hand, you should also be a supportive individual to all of the people who matter to you. Because nobody likes a critic. Nobody likes somebody who is overly critical of things. Okay. So it's better that in order to flourish and bloom those relationships, you need to be supportive of each other. So this support system helps a lot in dealing with stress. Like one of our friends mentioned in the chat box, that people, when they don't appreciate what you do, you feel very stressed out. And that happens at work a lot. Unfortunately, toxic workplaces have this thing in common. Like there is no culture of appreciation. People don't appreciate each other. They find it, they are very jealous. They envy each other. They don't want to praise each other. And that contributes to the overall toxic environment. So be an individual who supports people and have a support system around you also. Attitude matters a lot. I mean, I believe this is a very simple and basic thing, but this is something that is really practical. How you respond to what is happening around you. I mean, whatever is happening around us, we can't control that. I mean, if the economy of my country is in a very bad situation, what can I do about it directly? I mean, indirectly, I may be able to do something. I'm paying my taxes. I'm doing the best I can. But what can I do about it directly? But is it a good choice that I keep on worrying about it every day? Is that a good conscious choice that I'm taking? Changing attitude is about responding to the incidents that happen around you. You know, people who have mental strength, they have the capacity to deal with life challenges in a more resilient manner. And they have the ability to have the strength to deal with life stressors. You know, life is 20% what happens to us and 80% how we react to it. I really like this sentence. This is a very common sentence. You may have read it like multi times before, but remember it. Whatever is happening in our life, 20% is what is happening to us, and 80% is that how we are responding to it. Very important. And adopting a right attitude can convert a negative stress situation into a positive one. You know, good managers in organizations, they find opportunities in problems. Good managers, great managers, they look forward to having problems. They don't run away from problems, or they don't think that problems should not come. They anticipate problems because they know that from a problem, they are going to find an opportunity. And whenever there is an opportunity, there is a chance to learn, there is a chance to grow, there is a chance to be better. So if you're facing any challenge in your life, tell yourself that what is the opportunity in it? What can I learn from this? How can I be better from this. This kind of a mindset, this kind of approach is going to help you deal with stress. Lower down your expectations and be realistic. Set realistic goals. Don't like over exaggerate your expectation of life. I think the social media is one of the leading culprits in this scenario because it brings a lot of comparisons in our life. When we go on social media, we see people traveling, we see people achieving things, we see people getting more and more beautiful by each passing day. So this automatically triggers a response in our mind that everybody is doing something wonderful in their life and I'm not doing anything. And that approach is a wrong approach, but it is creating some kind of a stress. So when you're going to be realistic, you understand that you can't compare your life with them. Your life is different. Your path is different. What you are trying to do, what you have, what abilities you have, what strengths you have are different than what other people are doing. You are special in your own way, and they are doing special things in their own way. Realistically, thinking and evaluating your life is going to lower down stress to a very significant level. Have realistic expectation from your friends, relatives, peers, everyone around you. Generally they say that you should have no expectation from people, but obviously that is not possible. Because if you've married someone, you need to expect from your wife, you need to expect from your spouse. You need love, you need care, you need empathy, you need support. But that realistic expectation is the critical part. You don't need to over expect. You need to understand their boundaries as well, their limitations as well, and then expect. All right. So being real, it's a psychological thing, but once you start practicing it, it helps you lower down your stress. Same applies in the working environment as well. Even in the workplace, people usually complain about this thing that they are not being rewarded, they deserve more, they do more and they are getting paid less. I mean, I think if you conduct a survey in a workplace and you just start randomly asking people that, are you getting enough pay? I think 90% of the people will say that I'm working more than I'm getting paid. So who is right or wrong over here? This means that their expectation is unrealistic. It's not realistic. So once they are able to have a clear idea, a realistic idea of what they are doing, and what they are getting in return, maybe it'll help in controlling the stress. Okay. All right. There are some things in the chat box. Let me quickly have a look so that I don't miss anything. Okay. In the chat box, I'm the only one that has a job in my family, so I have to stretch my money. Hilaria, thank you so much for sharing. Setting boundaries is important, and workplace is full of gossip mongers. Nothing lasts forever. True, such wonderful ideas and thoughts. Thank you so much. So another strategy is get organized and take charge. Stop being at the responsive end of your life. Get up and start taking charge of things that are happening around you. Organize yourself. Schedule, make timetables, set priorities. I think setting priorities is one thing that helps you in your personal as well as your professional life. If you sleep 8 hours a day, you have around 16 hours left to do everything in which you are going to have food, in which you are going to have some work. You need to spend time with your family. You need to work on your health. You need to follow your own passions as well. If this order is disturbed, if you're like working for 12 hours, or if you are like staying with family for 12 hours, now this order is going to be disturbed. This disturbance of order eventually leads to creation of stress. So understand that there are multiple priorities in your life and give all of them due time. I mean, friends are very important in life, so do have a time for your friends. Your own health, both mental and physical, is very important. So in those 16 hours, do you have a scheduled 30-minute or a 1 hour that is focusing only on your mental and physical health, maybe some kind of a yoga, meditation, exercise, or anything? All productive people or successful people, they are very highly organized. I tend to envy this habit a lot. I must say, I must admit right now that I'm trying to be more organized in life. All right. I know what my priorities are, but unfortunately, at my work, I get a lot of distractions. I mean, there are students coming with their ideas, their opinions, and then there is something popping up at work. So something that happens is that if I really want to make a report, if I want to write something, it takes me around 7, 8 days to finally get some time, maybe over the weekend, to start writing it. This means my priorities and my scheduling are in a clash. So what I would suggest to you is, if this thing is stressing you out, the time is running out, and you're not able to do what you want to do, you need to take charge and set your own priorities in life. All right. I hope this is helpful. Give yourself me time. I mean, this is one thing that I really love. I mean, you may have so many friends around you, your family, and everything, but always find time for your own self. Treat yourself as a top priority. Love yourself. Take short breaks. Learn to relax. Go on a vacation. Enjoy. Give yourself break. In a day, in all days that you spend, there must be some activities that are totally for you. Like you should be having 1 hour or some time that is just for you. If you want to watch a movie, or if you want to go out for a walk, if you want to just like sit down and relax, just look at the sky and maybe look at the birds even, that is your time and you deserve it. So find me time always. I think this is one of the most practical strategies. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, like there is a lot of work coming, the expectations of family members are coming. I mean, there's so much burden on you. Just take a break from everything and give yourself some time. Because if you are going to be healthy and happy, then everything matters. Otherwise, everything is totally irrelevant. All right. Take good care of yourself. Everything counts towards managing stress. What you take as diet, what you eat. They say that you are what you eat. I mean, if using this hypothesis, if you're eating a lot of junk food, then what are you? Are you you are a junk food lover, but you end up being the J word. Okay. Take rest, follow a healthy routine, exercise daily, give your mental and physical well-being priority, please. The finances are always going to be shaky. I wish that they become really wonderful for you. But the reality of life is that finances are always going to be shaky. Some days are going to be better than the others. Your relationships may be going through ups and downs in life. But in all those situations, take very good care of yourself. Give yourself the true priority. You come first. So if you are mentally feeling all right, you're physically feeling all right, then everything is going to work out really well. Nothing to worry. In a professional context, they say that learn to say no. I mean, you can't just keep on doing everything that is coming your way. You need to take breaks and you need to set up your priorities and learn to say no. Now, that doesn't mean that you say no to everything. I mean, if you are working in a company and they ask you to do work and you just right away say no because you just took a training on stress management and you apply it on your daily life and you start saying no to everything, that won't work. But set up your priorities. I mean, there are distractions coming your way. You need to protect yourself by not allowing every request that comes your way. This, don't worry, this won't make you self-centered or make you bad. It will show you that you are a person who has clear priorities and understands what he or she, what you want. All right. Simple strategies. They are not like anything complicated, simple strategies. If you, we've already talked about it, but if you get regular exercise, it not only helps you physically, it helps you mentally as well. It can contribute towards building confidence, self-esteem, and self-image also. You know, I go to work on my bicycle. I'm 43 years old. I have a car, but I mean, in this summer weather, I prefer going to work on my bicycle, and I encourage my students to do the same. Obviously, they get inspired by me. They see that if our teacher is coming on bicycle, we should be doing the same as well. I think we are creating a environmental impact, a very positive environmental impact, reducing our carbon emissions. But most importantly, it's about working on your physical health. When was the last time that you selected a new hobby for yourself? Think about it. I mean, you think about your finances a lot, you think about your careers a lot. But when was the last time that you started a new hobby? Something that appeals to you, something interesting, something that is not making you money, but something that you just do for having a good time. Hobbies, I guess, they are something that makes us very unique and special. So find out things that appeal to you and try something new. Most importantly, slow down. I mean, if you are like running in your life, trying to do everything that comes your way, you'll eventually feel tired. I mean, take breaks, uh, enjoy your life, do work on your priorities, do work on your goals, but do understand that we have a limited time on this planet. And in that time, we have to do so many things. We have to make some achievements. We have to like love people. We have to feel loved as well. We have to like do so many amazing things. So make sure that you are not like pushing yourself too much in your career, in your work, or in anything that is bothering you. So when was the last time that you laughed like you don't care? When was the last time that you laughed? Think about the last time that you really laughed like like this. I see some very serious faces on my screen right now. Let's do a quick exercise. I mean, it'll sound really funny and amusing to all of you, but let us laugh. I mean, on a count of 1, 2, 3, and I'm sure Dr. Valkin is going to join as well. Let us all laugh. 1, 2, 3. Dr. Valkin, really, your laugh makes me feel so happy.
That's what you asked us to do.
And we see, all right, so many wonderful smiles and laughs. You know, I've been talking and talking for last 50 minutes or so. And by looking at the screen, my neck was starting to like uh, be stiff a bit. But by laughing right now, I just feel like I have still 30, 40 more minutes that I can speak. So using humor, laughing, all right, thinking about the lighter side of things is very good. Never ever ignore the value of using humor and laughs. You know, when I'm teaching classes, whenever, whatever topic am I talking about, I try to use a couple of jokes or lighter side things so that the students, they feel interested and they can like relax a bit. In my daily time, what I do is I try to spend around 15-20 minutes watching some stand-up comedy or some comedy movie maybe, so that I can like laugh or smile for a while, and that gives me good energy. So on the other hand, you can try to cry as well if you like. But I think that laughing is a better remedy. Wonderful. Okay. So we have talked about this thing that have a exercise, a relaxation routine. Mindfulness is something that you would want to study. Meditation, yoga, having simple quiet time, spending more time in nature. I believe that these things are going to help you a lot. Deep breathing exercises frequently, very easy to do. You will find so many wonderful exercises on YouTube that you can do to calm yourself down, to feel energized. Have all these tips and strategies ready for you all the time, because eventually you don't need to feel stressed out. You don't need to push yourself to a limit that you're not able to perform physically, you're not able to think in the right manner. Nothing in this life is worth your health and your mindset. Nothing. No matter what is happening in your life, it does not need to damage your physical or mental health. Because if you are physically and mentally fit, you can do whatever you want in your life. Final slide for today. What can managers do at workplace in order to reduce stress? A quick word of advice: improving workplace communication, interaction, openness. It can help so many people, because when they are heard, when they are given an opportunity to speak, consulting your employees, talking to them, reaching out to them, offering them benefit, motivation, rewards is pretty obvious, but that is how it is. Cultivating a friendly social environment, like where people, they can easily interact with each other without any hurdles, boundaries. Having off and on recreational activities. I mean, work is fine, work is good, but spend some time for fun as well. Work and fun should go in hand. Most tech companies nowadays are having a combination of both of these things. Work-life balance should be rationalized, workload should be rationalized. Uh, People, they get bored in a similar job, doing it over and over again. So switch them over, give them more challenges, new opportunities to work on. That helps a lot. So in the end, I would suggest this is the end of my topic today. My final message is that stop stressing, start living. When once you start to live, everything else becomes secondary. Your focus should be on living. All right. So thank you so much for your patience, for your attention. If you have any question or any opinion, please feel free to share.